And I'm proud of this generation of Africans around the world, humans around the world, because for the first time in a long while, humanity is winning by the number of, what is the name? By the number of protests around the world. Because we know until situations like that get resolved, things won't change around Africa and things won't change around the world. Now, the UN Secretary General, Antonio Guterres, I love the fact that he condemned what is currently going on in Africa. Yes, that place is Northeast Africa, where Israel is now, where Palestine is used to be part of Africa. Northeast Africa. This is Egypt, this is Israel, where it is now. And we are on the same platonic plate. So people live there. There are black people who think they live in Northeast Africa. But unfortunately, just like my brother was saying, trying to attack me for not knowing a flag, the same people, why should I learn the divisions when I can learn things that will empower my brothers? I can learn biology. I can learn architecture, building homes with log cabins. I can write software patterns and AIs into the Pan-Africanism system and make policies. So I don't learn divisions. That is why I don't want, you see, even in Pan-Africanism, I said is that in Ghana, nobody will go under a flag into parliament. You will go with your name, what you've done in Ghana, right? I hate flags. So why should I even learn flags? I don't even know Togo's flag, because those flags are the reason why we can't communicate among one another. Those are the divisions you want to learn. I didn't learn that. I learned ancient Kemet. I learned everything on Sergeant for Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. How many books of Sergeant for Dr. Kwame Nkrumah have you read? But you learn books of Moses. You learn books of Paul. Come on, Paul. If Paul is in our lifetime now, he will be the King Leopold of our era. Now today, I said I'm proud of humanity around the world. Mr. Fong doing an excellent job in the Netherlands, covering it. I've been following the whole thing that is going on around the world, standing for the first time for humanity. Now, in this midst, Africa's unity is upon us. Africa's unity is already what we are seeing. And if we keep our resources, I don't think the United States can get enough to make these bombs to fight these stupid wars around the world. It's because they take things from our land and use it to cause havoc instead of enriching humanity. So Western civilization, as we grew up to see, will take something that was supposed to be beneficial for humans and rather make it something that will end human life. Like, let's say, cars, right? Now, cars are becoming more thinner and thinner and more expensive. And I'm like, have we forgotten the safety? And they keep increasing the speedometers and the number of speed it can go. But then the cars are becoming more thinner and thinner. So now when you are in a car crash, you will die, right? Instead of making road bars to make sure the car is more stronger and can save human life, they would rather want to go on ridiculous speeds. So there are so many things in Western civilizations, unfortunately, we have learned that has become a cancer on our own very existence as Africans. And the UN Security Council, if the UN Security Council can't resolve this fight, it's not even a fight, because it is like, when you talk about Israel, you are talking about one of the top 10 powerful military forces in the world. And Palestine is not even, everything that enters Palestine passes through these people. So it is not like guns can get there for them to fight back. And I'm glad humans around the world are taking a stand this time around for something better. Because when Antonio Gutierrez condemned Israel, I was just looking at the reactions from people. And of course, Benjamin Netanyahu, that man needs to face war crimes. He needs to face war crimes. Why are you silencing the other side of the story if you talk about freedom of speech? Now, you keep coming to Africa with human rights and being the father of democracy as if you practice it. But your actions is the absolute opposite of what you preach around the world. So we in the global south, we are sick and tired of what is going on with regards to NATO and their members. And Africa's unity will make sure that natural resources are used for the benefit of our people and not to fight stupid wars around the world. If the UN Security Council couldn't solve this conflict because the United States vetoed against it, then are we living in a democratic world? How can less than 350 million people be so barbaric to think that killing more young children, man, will solve a conflict? You are the occupiers of the land. We know Israel never existed. Israel are black people. The real Jews are black people. Because anthropology, come on, archaeology will teach you that every race came from the black race. All stages of the human revolution as a scientist came, we have all the stages. From the Homo sapien to the Homo sapiens, all of them, you find them in Africa. We lived here until the fourth revolution before we started traveling around the world. Now, black people give birth to white babies all the time in Africa. Can they do likewise? Two white people giving birth to a brown child or a black child? It will never happen under the sun. Because green is not a color. Green is a combination of blue and yellow. So when green is talking about being superior than red and yellow, than blue and yellow, how does that make sense? Tell me how that makes sense. So color teaches us. The universe teaches you that even though you've been told something different, that we were slaves and we were so primitive, living in caves, you should know that black people have always been on earth. When we were here, nothing of this sort was happening. When black people are in charge, the world will become peaceful. And we need to remove our energies from the West. For the first time in a long, long, long while, I am calling on every black man to look at Africa with another eye. As the continent that it was meant to be, the richest around the world, with a median age of 19 years, thinking in one direction, in Pan-Africanism, the Pan-African spirit, embracing us. We need to start teaching our children differently. So the career-oriented education I've been speaking about is that for the first 6 years of a child's life, we shouldn't let our children wake up at 6 o'clock to go to an institution for somebody else to teach them. No. First 6 years of a child's life will be at home. Now we have the TV. They are always on the TV. You don't need to teach a child about animals. Let that child watch National Geographic Wild, right? For a very long time, and that child will know because the eyes learn fast. So our children will be taught our history, and they will now respect themselves. They will know who they are. They will appreciate whatever makes them black. Because they will know they are the kings and queens of Al-Kebulan. So today, as I said, we as this generation, we are losing interest in what makes the UN. Who are the UN? Why is it that the whole world wants you to cease fire, but just 5% of the total world population say no, and this doesn't end? Who made these laws? So Africa, 1.5 billion black people, which we are more than the United States with 300 million. Now, my brothers, it is time for us to start giving birth again. We need to populate our continent. We will populate our continent, and now we can have 100 million soldiers protecting Al-Kebula. Because these people, when we sack them, they will come back in a different guise. Osajefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah warned us about them. But unfortunately, we decided to pay homage and love the oppressor than our own self. Now, before you came here on earth, it is not because a white man came and died on a cross, my brothers, around Africa. It is because people had to live and die and give birth and die for a very long time for you to be here today. And in the last 500 years or so, those people were the ones that they will put a pope's spear into them and open it and laugh. The scalding pot. This is history. They used to be proud of this history, but now they are ashamed of it, and they want us to forget it. And they come here backing others and putting systems in our midst that divides us. So I gave my brother an opportunity to come and tell me something about Pan-Africanism and what he is doing for Africa. Because I love his content. I like his content all the time. But rather, he chose a negative mind. But this is not the division we want. Why would I learn flags? I said I hate everything about a flag because it shows, it divides. The divide and conquer they put on us, it works. So now, a family can be divided because some people have become Muslims, others have become Christians. And even in the Christians, the people who have become Jehovah's Witnesses will never mingle again with the people that have become Pentecost. This is the divisions. And I see above every division. So I don't learn divisions. I learn systems that help us embrace one another, respect one another, and know that we all need each other to make Africa work. A united continent of Africa, the kingdom of Al-Kebula. Now I keep saying that Africa, the name Africa has suffered enough. Or don't you think so? We are rebranding ourselves, and we are going back to when we were kings and queens. Our stories didn't start with slavery. Our slavery was a blip. Slavery was a blip in the greatness of who an African is. But now the star seeds are back, and we are taking whatever belongs to Africa a day at a time. So, Africa United Concern, thank you so much for joining me. Unfortunately, you decided to go on a negative route, right? And I'm all about positivity. So, as I said, if US can veto against peace around the world, when the world is asking for it, Africa and the Pan-Africanism, we are going to leave the United Nations now because it is not inclusive. We are going to leave the World Bank because it is an enslaving institution designed to enslave us economically. The IMF, Africa will leave IMF. And of course, the WHO, during the COVID season, we saw with our eyes. I said, Bediako-Poku, the things I see, maybe because I am open to a consciousness over 800,000 years old, way before the Caucasian race ever existed. So me, when I'm talking to any Caucasian, I know you are talking to your ancestor. I know they are talking to their ancestor. They are talking to their grandfather. Do you know who you are, my African? Why have you given your power away to the same people that hate us? So now, we will destroy our continent. We will bring the same people to our continent to mine and destroy our waters when water is life. Now, if I tell you I will give you $100 million today, will you be happy? Of course, everybody will be happy, right? But if I tell you I will kill you after I've given you the $100 million, of course, nobody will want the $100 million. Because life is more important than the money. We live a day at a time. I may be talking to you today, and in 10 years' time, I may be no more. But you see, my videos and my messages, maybe a different generation will understand better, because they will be born. Now, when Osadifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah was saying the things he was saying, the collective consciousness of Africans weren't matching his consciousness. What he knew about what these people were, they didn't know. So maybe my messages may hit similar, right? But then I know Africans, we know who we are now, and we are embracing whatever makes us Africans. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Uncensored Friday show with Obonku Menkuma and Bediako-Poku, the ordained Crown Prince of Ghana. So 30 million, less than 350 million people. The Rothschild. Now, why is the Zionist movement not considered a terrorist organization? Now, when you define who a terrorist is, somebody who instills fear, right, into civilians with unlawful measures. And when we look at what Israel is doing, breaking all international laws with collective punishment, depriving people of water, depriving people of food, depriving people of the basic amenities that makes you human. Why is the Zionist not considered? Why is terrorism just associated to a group of people and not collectively when you do the act? So not only do white people embrace their terrorists and love them, they give them heroic standards. King Leopold has a statue in Belgium. Why don't they? Knowing what they know about what King Leopold did in the DRC, why haven't Belgium broken down that statue? They want us to remember the Holocaust of Israelites. Sorry, these people, they are not the Jews. They are, I hear black people talking, we are the Hebrews, we are the Jews, we are this. Yes, everything that there is, we are. Because we were here millions of years before we started giving birth to these people. Know who you are as an African. And move and bask in your grace. Bask in your power. Bask in your abundance. You may be the great-great-grandchild of Obavorum. Do you know Obavorum is still here in your body? Your building blocks, your DNA. Why have you forsaken your very own building blocks? And now you are honoring things that you made. That is why some churches in Ghana would rather listen to Paul. I said, if Paul is in our lifetime, he, Adolf Hitler, King Leopold, similar people, barbaric people, evil people. But then my fellow Ghanaian right now would rather listen to Paul than to Obonku Menkuma and Bediako-Poku, telling him that the division is the reason why we are suffering. And our ancestors left us codes in our languages, in our proverbs. You say, Prayano, we back one mutumibu, ukabomwa emu. They left us the Edinkran symbols so that they know that when we learn their language, we can decode what they said in the language. That is why they force us to teach English to our children. And now we are losing words that makes us Africans. So the whole of Africa, we will pick 3 official languages. I think Swahili should be part because Swahili is spoken by so many Africans. I think Twi should be part. Similar. And Twi is one of the most ancient languages in the world. You don't know who you are. That is why you are forsaking Africa. Now, it is people that make nations great. And I'm calling on every black man to move out from the wasteland. Move out of the United States. Bring the NBA to Africa. We will build things for the NBA in Africa, for the music industry in Africa. We are here for legacy purposes. What we do with our time now will determine who we become in the next 50 years. And in the next 50 years, I want us to look at ourselves grown and in our wheelchairs somehow. Some people may be dead, right? If you are not dead and you are still here, we meet at places, commune, have respect for one another as Africans. So we talk about the unity of Africa. And I will never put my energy on negativity around Africa. Because I know what we need to do. Respecting one another. The great Mozart, Marcus Garvey, he said this, and I quote him. He said, a race that doesn't respect itself will automatically forfeit the respect of other races. Is it resonating, my fellow Africans, my fellow Ghanaians? I am an African born in Ghana. This is the kingdom of Al-Kebula. We are the children of the sun. We stand in the sun and we receive energy. We detoxic our bodies in the sun. Drink water. Let your stomach be empty sometimes. 6 hours, 8 hours. Sit in the sun. Commune with it. Meditate. Drink water. It will cleanse you of all negative energies. Use air to cleanse your body. Use the plants. Now, we hear when we went to school, right? We know plants are living things, right? So if humans are also living things, and whatever we do, plants are also doing it, why do you think it is wrong that when you are going to pluck a leaf from a particular plant, you should ask for permission first? Think about it. If plants are living things, when they came, they said we were worshiping under trees because the tree may be there over 1,000-year-old, and maybe his ancestor used to worship there. So now that place has become like a church, and everything is conscious. Even stones, water is conscious. Everything is energy. As a scientist, so as a scientist, when I look at how our ancestors were doing their things, now I understand why they developed Africa until everything was broken down and burnt to the ground. The great city of Benin, the Benin Kingdom, just like what they are doing in Palestine, the same people in different guise. So I am happy humanity is winning, because Africa's unity will make sure wars like this will stop. Because we won't give our natural resources for you to keep making bombs. We will use the resources for the benefit of human race. The only race in this world is the human race. And that is it. But unfortunately, a group of people, the least among us, have decided to be so barbaric. Do you know why they are so barbaric? Most of them don't develop the pineal gland. So they see this world differently. Most of them, their pineal gland is calcified. Africans have the best percentage of developing the pineal gland. Asians are next, but 15% among these people. So you see, what we know about this world, what we know about the universe, what we know about Earth, they don't know. They see things differently. Now, as a black man, when I sit, my field of vision goes all to this way, right? Their field of vision is very, very narrow. So what we see, they don't see. That is why they would rather take something that was supposed to be beneficial for humans and turn it evil against humanity. The kingdom of Al-Kebulan is upon us, my brothers and sisters. The WHO, Africa will leave the WHO, because we can make our own medicines better by using plants, by paying homage to plants when we are going to plug them. Yes, plants are living thing. Plants die. They drink water like you. They reproduce. They do everything you do. Maybe not everything. You know, some of the things we will do. Right? But look at them. They are living things. So why do you think it's wrong when you've heard that this plant is good for this disease, when you are going to plug it? Respect. It's like you coming to me and just hitting me and running away without asking me. That is what we do. That is why we don't get the required nutrients from plants anymore. Because we think we've learned something different. We share DNA with these plants. It's been a while since I was sick because my vibration is always high. Sadness is not in me. Although sometimes I get moments like every human, right? When I see how much I have missed my mom, right? Sometimes I break down and cry a bit, right? It is every human. But I know this is a lonely road. The road to a dream is lonely. Only you see it. Only you have seen it. I have seen Africa becoming what it was meant to be. So now I live a day at a time and I work towards African unity. Nothing will divide us anymore. My brothers around Africa, wherever you are across this beautiful continent, from Abuja to Luanda to Porto Novo, Brazzaville, Praia, Bangui, Banjul, N'Djamena, Freetown, Dakar, I'm talking from Accra, Lome, right? Nouakchott, Antananarivo, Cairo, Tunis, Tripoli, bring your names, Dodoma, Harare, Lusaka, Gaborone, Windhoek, Rabat, Maputo. These are the beautiful cities across the 54 countries in Africa. Africa is one country. We are the children of the sun. We need to develop this continent. Clean energy. Solar will give us everything we need. The sun will give us all the energy we need. All we need to do is harness the power of it. We stand in the sun and we commune with it. And it is about to cleanse all negative energies. Maybe the heaven they spoke about is what you are seeing. Because the sun is cleansing. That is why of late they talk about heat flares a lot. Anybody that doesn't have melanin is going. Any low vibration humans, you are leaving Earth because Earth is sick and tired of humans crying all the time. There hasn't been a decade that the United States is not somewhere around the world causing the havoc they caused on Africa. From Iraq to whatever, then they came to Africa. For Muhammad Gaddafi, destroyed whatever was in Libya. My uncle used to be in Libya. When the war came, he jumped from like a 7-story building. He broke his leg and was jogging with the broken leg and came back to Ghana. He told me what was in Libya. The comfort, free healthcare. That is the Pan-Africanism and the Pan-African system we want to implement all around the world. They think they may have silenced Gaddafi, but they never silenced the Pan-African spirit that was being born around the continent. So I'm sending greetings to everybody joining the movement, from the PLO Lumumba, Professor PLO Lumumba's, Dr. Umar Fatunde, and everybody. This is not division. This is not who is speaking better than who. It is time for our abundance to echo around the world. Africa will leave IMF, World Bank, UN, and WHO. During the COVID season, when Africans wanted the vaccine, ask the president of South Africa. He will explain better. He has a video. Go and watch it. When Madagascar had the medicine from a plant that could cure us, right? because of capitalism. And now, there is so much rise of AIDS in Africa ever since these vaccinations. So if you have a low vibration, the AIDS will kill you now. Move into the fifth dimension. Move into the collective consciousness the world is blowing. Every low vibration energy, if you are always, what are you using your time for, my brothers and sisters? Let me ask you. Time is the ultimate currency. What you do with your time now will determine who you become in the next 2 years. If you like, start watching videos on fish farming. 1 hour every day. Make sure you are consistent. By 3 months, you will know so much about fish farming. By 1 year, you may try to venture into that sector. Use your time wisely. Use your time wisely. So as I'm saying, catch me Monday, man. I'm proud of this generation for standing up to mediocrity. And I'm coming to play Hosanna is Getting Nearer again. I invited somebody on to speak to me, and he was trying to criticize me for not knowing a flag in Africa. When I'm building the panel, when I've written over 3,023 software patterns. Oh man. When I'm building a school for the Pan-African education, he would dare for playing a Ghanaian music. Why shouldn't I love music? A day at a time. You can't move at a different pace, my brothers. You do and enjoy life. Enjoy it and work. And leave the rest, leave the open end to the Most High. Leave it to Allah, to whatever you call him in your language. And he will answer. He is in the dream-making business. Africa's unity, I saw it at the age of 3. And since then, I was working, learning multiple languages. Just to make sure I can be in this position. And thank God for the internet. Now, the world knows what is going on around the world. And the TikTok CEO, Mr. Chiu, I know the European Union wrote you a letter. Come on. The reason why TikTok has become TikTok is because now people could say their truth without being censored, without being silenced. And that is how come Palestine is now getting the justice they deserve around the world. So would you stand with the truth? Because if TikTok start blocking so many of mine, then it means in Pan-Africanism, we will block TikTok from Africa. Yes, and we will create our own way of sharing our videos. So it is what it is. I hope TikTok will know that those 300 million people shouldn't own the narrative and use the media in their favor. They've done it for far too long. They've done it for far too long, my brothers and sisters. So let me give a shout out to Banzi Banero. He said, Hosanna is getting nearer. Hosanna is getting nearer, man. So let me play it again in case that guy is still watching. Right?